was just sitting at my favorite coffee shop with the children of the owners of the coffee shop. And they're absolutely adorable. And one of them, who just had a birthday, had a few little gummy bears as a treat. And we were drawing together, and she took the gummy bear and just nibbled at the end and set it back down. And she looked at me with this huge smile and said, "I like to eat the feet first so they can't run away." And I can understand that she probably learned that from her dad, who's got a wicked sense of humor. Or if it didn't matter, if she came up with it on her own. One thing I found interesting was that there's some relevance to that pertaining to a lot of thoughts I was having on not allowing the freedom of something. And it triggered this series of thoughts about what I've been doing recently in my house, taking a lot of photos that I've had over the years, photos that I actually had developed because they're on a different type of camera, and you wouldn't be able to see the images unless you did develop film, right? Or photos that people gave to me. But now we're in this era of everything being digital, so the photos that I do see from any that I take typically come up from the cloud in which they're stored through Google Photos or wherever they are in the technological stratosphere. So upon seeing them on a device, and upon having a life that is so consumed with busyness that isn't so much the priority, photos haven't been developed and haven't been changed out. So these memories that I have on the refrigerator and in frames are quite dated. They're from years ago. And so I've been recently changing some of these out from friends that have given me photos over the holidays, putting them in different frames, changing photos out on the refrigerator. And I started to think about the concept of capturing a moment. Now, I'm a huge advocate of being in the moment and not necessarily taking a photo, but contemplating the photo and contemplating things such as this out of this subtle fear that I'll forget. Why I'm worried about forgetting, I'm not quite sure. I think in some ways it's not so much about forgetting the memory, but forgetting the onset of awareness of a transition in life. Forgetting the things that have shifted dramatically from in different perspectives and understandings and philosophies, a subtle fear of forgetting that the outer world is one of belief that can put you into a mindset that really limits your ability to perceive other things or to understand other things, that can lead you into compassion and understanding and empathy. I fear that I'll forget that true knowledge comes from within, and it doesn't necessarily have a location, which is wonderful because you have to let go of that attachment. So when I think about capturing memories now, I'm wondering what happens to the moment when you were in the moment? And is that moment that you were in lost because you captured it and now it's somewhere else? And now, just like a belief that can be limited, if you just remove all of the other perceptions, does the moment that you capture only have a single explanation? The photo that I see in a frame, the photo that's on my refrigerator, if I've captured it, are there other stories to it? Would it change if I were to believe it to have a different form of meaning? Or is it kind of stuck? I think if I'm able to change my perception and projection of what things mean, then yeah, it can live on. But I don't think that people necessarily do that for each other. We develop ideas about something, someone, and project that onto it. And when that idea kind of sticks onto that, because we're the ones that are creating that, it becomes very limited. And so, like, things like this, that's why it's important that when I am doing like a recording, I try to be as spontaneous as possible and come from a place of exploring all options, because I don't want to be someone that says this is the way it is. And so when I look at the photos, I need to understand that, God, these moments are captured. That's not freeing. Why did I do that to that moment? Why did I capture it? It's not living freely. And of course, it might sound ridiculous because I'm talking about maybe an inanimate object, but I'm getting to the point where I don't necessarily believe that inanimate objects are lacking consciousness. Therefore, I don't know if I really believe there's such a thing as an inanimate object. So it's almost like that. I can't remember what Superman movie is, but when those people come down and Christopher Reeve's character, they've been imprisoned in this box, like flying throughout the universe, right, until it's shattered by the nuclear warhead that Superman, Christopher Reeve's character of Superman, throws out into space and shatters, and they come in. I feel like maybe that moment is just stuck. And then again, I come from a belief too that all time is happening now, so that moment is everlasting. I just have documentation of it. But what would happen if I were to change my mind on what that means? Could it evolve? Could I change the moment from the past that would now alter what we call the present? And I think so. And I'll close with this random tirade about presence and moments and capturing them and photography and videoing and getting stuck in belief systems. As I have this exercise that I've done as an artist, and I've done this with others, is just holding up a blank canvas to people and having them look at it, a blank canvas. But in looking at that blank canvas, the only real piece of art is the title. So for instance, if you're looking at my hand, and my hand is a blank canvas, there's nothing there but your imagination. Nothing there at all. There's nothing there but your imagination. But let's say below that there is a title, and that title says your father. And the subtitle to this blank canvas that says your father is sitting in his favorite chair, having his favorite drink, watching his favorite show. Now, as opposed to me painting a picture and people seeing the same thing, I'm assuming, and perhaps feeling different things, This is actually mentally visualizing completely different things, all while looking at the same thing. Using your imagination, which is the catalyst to all that has been, is, and forever will be. I can look at this image and I could think back of when I was a child. If it was my dad sitting in his favorite chair, having his favorite drink, watching his favorite show, well, it's probably my dad's in these sweatpants, like these maroon colored sweatpants with a beige stripe down the middle. And he's wearing dress socks that he often would wear running before he really got into running and started to get some athletic wear. And he'd probably be sipping a Pepsi or a Coke dependent on, the Pepsi challenge, or if, Bill Cosby said which one to drink. And he's probably watching Bill Cosby. He's probably watching NBC TV on Thursdays, right? Where it's the Cosby Show, and then there's Cheers, and then Night Court, all of those things. Now that could be one image that I have, and I had like from high school. Now, if I were to imagine my dad, I don't know if he's in his sweatpants. He might be in some pajama bottoms now, right? Or maybe it's the afternoon after you just got done biking, he's wearing jeans and his hiking shoes, and which are his walking shoes. He's got his legs crossed and he's maybe watching reruns of Jon Stewart or Steve Colbert. If it's in the evening, he might be sipping some wine with my mother. If it's during the day, well, maybe it's a cup of coffee, or maybe it's a Sprite. But just as easily as I'm imagining those things from different times of my life, I could change it right now. I could put my dad into camo shorts and a white or a tie-dye t-shirt with a straw hat. I could have him watch a Gaia channel, drinking kombucha. I can create whatever story I want. It's the attachment to the story. It's limiting ourselves by capturing things and not letting it go. To be what the moment could be, rather than the projections that we put on it. Well, that's a lot of processing there. Thank you.